hello folks, how you doing today? We are bringing you today our special edition of the Hardball Profits Way. This is American Management Services podcast that we try to bring out to business owners every week. We publish on Tuesdays and Thursdays on iTunes, Spotify, etc. And today we are really privileged because we are actually visiting some friends of ours up in Ocala, Florida. We are visiting Patrice and Elodie Perron from the Cuisine French restaurant here on First Avenue? Yeah. First Avenue in Ocala, and along with Patrice and Elodie, we are joined by Mayor Kent Guinn, who is the mayor of Ocala. Mayor, about 8.5 years now?
Yeah.
Something like that?
8.5 years.
See, I read that this morning. I'm
Yeah.
right on schedule. Okay, so our goal, folks, is to provide value. We want to bring you solid business advice that can help you out. I like to tell folks all the time that sometimes we'll try to entertain you, but what we're really trying to do is bring you something that you can help you actually enhance your business. So my first question is going to be, if you don't mind, I'd like to launch this with Mayor. I'd like to ask you point blank, you referred us to these folks here. Do you remember why you did that?
Well, you and I did the Zoom meeting with the U.S. Conference of Mayors, and you were very helpful to a lot of the mayors throughout the country. And so I thought, well, I talked to Patrice and knew that they needed some work done. So I thought, well, Lou is the best guy to put them in touch with. So that was the reason. I knew you could help them.
Well, I appreciate that. So if you remember, you and I texted on the Friday, and then on Saturday, you and I spoke we actually spoke Friday night. You were doing a wine tasting, Patrice, a virtual wine tasting, which I had never heard of before, which I thought was amazing. And then we spoke again on Saturday twice, and I think maybe on Monday you were painting. That sound right? You were painting a bathroom?
Yes,
right? I don't remember much, but things about food I remember. Okay. So, folks, before we really get going, I want to remind you that American Management, we have a toll-free hotline for any business owner to call anytime they'd like. We are providing assistance to folks at no charge through our relationship with the United States Conference of Mayors. I believe that number is 855-876-5561. Mike, did I get that right? About time I do something right. So, Patrice, let me come to you if you don't mind. So, several weeks ago we had a conversation, and you and Elodie decided to move forward and get a little bit of advice, a different set of eyes and ears on the business. And we sent a gentleman up here to spend 2-3 days with you and kick the tires and see what's going on. Do you remember that process at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So before to start, I really want to thank you and for the mayor for all this and to be here in our modest restaurant. That's really great. The initiative is when the mayor came here. We speak and we were very honored about that because he supported us during this quarantine, and right away, after this talk, you called me. We were just preparing and scrambling organization of wine tasting. It was the premiere, first one. And I called you back, and I think it was the great timing, to start something new, and what we like to call after 10 years, because if the mayor is here for 9 years, we have been opening for almost 11 years now, and we want to do we are still here in this industry. That's great, but we really want to go further, and we call that La Cuisine 2.0, and with your help, of course.
We have folks talk to us about BC before COVID and AC after COVID, and nobody seems to want to talk about DC, which is during COVID, which is what we're all sort of still playing with a little bit. Elodie, what do you remember about when, do you remember Brad Sullivan, the analyst that came in here?
Yes,
do you remember him?
Absolutely.
And how were your few days with Brad?
It was really great. He's a great guy. He looked at everything, had the right questions at first, and within a day he had the whole picture of the restaurant, of the staff, how we were working. Second day he came with a very strong demeanor, okay, we need to get this going, and this is what we can do, and it's exactly what we needed to hear during this crisis, because we did what we could do best during COVID. But when you look at the forecast going forward, it's very scary. because it's a depressed market, and Rod was good, friendly, reassuring.
It's interesting because as we chatted before, I live in Orlando, actually about 70 miles from here, and I've never been to Ocala. And as you drive here and you come around these streets, it's just restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. It's very cool, right? So I might get an apartment here if my wife would let me, but it's actually very cool. So, part of our challenge when we come out and work with folks is we want to be practical. We want to deal with real world facts. We want to be practical, but we also want to be hopeful, right? We want to inspire some confidence that you can make your life better. So you spent 2 or 3 days, you went through this analysis, this business survey with Bill. Then you decided to sign on with us to actually get more help on a more long-term basis. And our next department came in, which was consulting, and Bill Williams, who's actually in the room with us. And Bill's been with us 16, 17, 18 years now, Bill? 18 years now, okay. And I know he's from Alabama. We won't hold that against him, but we have Bill over here. So what did you want to get out of the consulting process, Patrice? What were you hoping to accomplish?
So first of all, I think that's great because the first contact with Bill was really great, and he immediately understood what was this kind of market here, and where we had some weak point. I'm going everywhere myself in every direction, and sometime to go to A to B, I'm doing some detour and everything. And if he can be there just to make us focus on the goal, and after one, and after another one, and after another one, to basically this business after 10 years, if we are still open, it's not successful, but we are still here. The reputation is great. We have a great local support, but we really want to move forward and to go on a higher management. Inside on all those numbers, because I like numbers, I like statistics, I like data. But the thing is, I don't really know how to read it. I don't really know how to put them in perspective. And sometimes we can work hard on one side, and Bill is here to say, hey, just wait a minute, look, come that way, look this. Maybe you don't spend too much time here. It's better because here is the real issues. And I think, he really is going to really help us to improve and financially to become better, definitely.
So Bill's been here, is this week 3 or week 4? This is week 3.
Yeah.
Anything in particular you've gotten out of your first 3 weeks with Bill here, Elodie?
Well, especially numbers, and that's Patrice's side. I'm all marketing and contact with the clientele, but I can see he spends a lot of time and work. But the tools that he presented were very great, and he makes sure that I understand them too. Like even this morning, he's like, do you have any question on this? Do you understand how that works? Because you need to make a budget, and this is how you do it. And during this shutdown and this difficult time, it's really helpful and reassuring that after COVID, we can go in the right direction.
Okay, so we've been doing this for a long time in American Management, and this might be the first time that I can remember that we've actually come and did a recording at a client like this, so we're privileged to be here. But when you took me through the kitchen today, it went through my mind that our job is to understand what matters to you, and then to try to create a solution for you that's simple, right? Simple, so you can carry it on when Bill's not here any longer. And what we really want is we want you to have the quality of ownership you deserve, right? And that means profit, and that means controls, and it means you don't have to be here all the time. That's really where we want to go with this for you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Bill, you're across the room over there. So, folks, you can't hear Bill, but Bill Williams is the consultant that's actually been working here. And, Bill, I think 1 or 2 areas in particular that you focused on with Patrice and Elodie.
Well, the first was cash forecasting, and that's where Patrice has spent most of the time on cash forecasting. And then we were going to attack, the food costs, menu costs. And we're working with one of our formats and one of his formats to get that developed. But in between that, we had a little road bump. He's, got the chefs out and the sous chefs out. So,
That's why it's called business and not a game.
yeah. So those are the areas, and I've been looking at, we set up some flash reports where we're looking at the dailies, off the Z report, which shows what they sold, and we're getting the head count and what the average cost per sale to a customer. Starting to build on that, we were looking at our beverage, our wines and liquor sales today. So those are the areas we've been
So a fair amount of things in motion quickly.
got quite a few.
Okay, so, we want to make sure that we're not doing lunches now, right? Good. So we want to make sure we maximize what goes on at dinner. We turn the tables as prudently as possible, because in your environment, it's a much more slow turnover, and we got to make sure we have the dollars for that. We need to understand our menu costing, right? We need to understand exactly what it costs. And you need to have good labor controls. Right? So what our job is to try and get you there, so that as things pick back up or get to whatever normal may be, that you guys have the controls that you want. Okay, Mayor, anything else you want to kick in?
No, I mean, they've been here for, Patrice said, for 8 or 9 years. And they're just, a welcome addition to downtown and obviously to Ocala in general. And we're just fortunate to have someone like them, and they have a great story of how they came here. And
they don't want to go back.
No.
So I've been told. No.
Do not go back to Europe.
So you mentioned before about putting together a restaurant cooperative or something in Ocala. If we can help in any way, shape, or form, just yell. Okay, let Bill know, let Michael know, let the mayor, myself. We can help in any way, shape, or form. We'll do that. Build's done here 2 or 3 months from now. What do you want your restaurant to look like? I'm asking you next, so you got out quicker. You got out easier.
Yeah, I would like to have a restaurant. I should say that's maybe too much, but an institution now, because we obtained the 9th Golden Spoon in a row, plus a Wall of Fame. And that's why we are doing this advertising on the 75, to make sure that people know that this cross of this beautiful town of Ocala, because Ocala, I think, really strategically is between Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, further Atlanta. But yeah, if we can make people stop here to have and enjoy a nice culinary experience, it will be great. And more than that, with Elodie, my partner, if we can even have more time to, with all those kind of dashboard and numbers, expand the business in many ways. Maybe those ways were modified by what's happened, with this quarantine. Maybe more delivery food, curbside. Why not to go and have a portfolio of company customers that you go when they have a board meeting and you bring some trays with everything in it, with a nice and fancy packaging. So and all those ideas pop up in our head during this quarantine. So I mean, in every struggling point, we don't like the comfort zone. This business is all except the comfort zone. And the struggling point, sometimes it's good because it makes you stronger. And
it makes you back up and look differently.
Yeah, we won't make
But you realize most restaurants don't make it to year 2. The fact that you made it to 10 or 11 years and have so many awards that you've gotten, and you've done this together, let's make sure you have another 10 or 20. Elodie, what do you want to be in a couple of years from now? What do you want to get out of this?
Actually, he went through everything that we talked about, so we had the same vision. Definitely a little bit more profitable. That's why you're here. But stay in people's mind in this local community, and they've been so great doing the curbside pickup. We never closed the restaurant, so they've been really supportive, and we want to continue to be also an institution for them to be able to celebrate their special occasions, birthday, anniversaries, graduations, and expanding. I'm more like, if you ask me in 2 years, after everything that happened right now, I'll be like, if we're still here, that's great, let's enjoy that, let's work hard for that, and maybe some time off too. But yeah, no, it's been challenging, but it's a beautiful award, and you know.
The goal is to be really financially really strong.
Financially strong.
Bill, will they be here in 2 years?
Absolutely.
I didn't think there was any doubt. Okay, so you know, when you told me about the virtual wine tasting you were doing, it dawned on me, why aren't other people being creative like that, right? So a lot of people shifted to in-house dining to takeout. You didn't have a choice. It was that or close up. And some folks chose to do nothing. We have restaurants still in Orlando that are just closed, right? But you told me the numbers you did that night, and I'm like, why would we not be doing this every month? Or some two things special every month. It's supplemental revenue and profit. So I think you guys really have your act together. I would say it differently, but I want to be kind in front of the mayor. I think you guys have your act together, and I think that's really great. Any last comments? Pat? Mayor?
No, just glad to have them here.
Yeah, we're glad to have him here too. So folks, I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Hardball Profits Way. We are American Management Services. It is our job to help guide you through what we've been calling 90 days of hell, but we really screwed that one up. It's not been 3 months of hell, because we counted 3 months of hell to be April, May, and June, and we actually think all of 2020 is going to be pretty crappy, quite frankly. So you have to be smart. You have to be ahead of the game. You have to be really on top of what you do. Know your numbers, manage by the numbers. Know your numbers, manage by the numbers. If we can help anyone, it's our privilege to do so. You can call anytime. Talk to me. Talk to Mike Lockyer, our Director of Consulting. Talk to any one of our executives, 855-876-5561. Free of charge. We're here to help you. Appreciate you guys spending the time today.
No, thank you for being here.
We are privileged to have you as part of our family. We appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.
for all the
Yep.
help.
Thank you. No problem. That was it. It was painless, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, it was perfect. Mi casa es su casa.
Very sweet. That's it, guys.
Thank you.
Okay?